Whether you've been a church graphic designer for 2 months or 2 years or 2 decades, we all need assets to work with, software to work in, and resources to help level up our creativity. So here are 15 of my favorite resources that are free and paid that will level up your church graphic design today. I've been a graphic designer for over 8 years for the church, but for about 12 years total. These are some resources that I have picked up along the way that I'm excited to share with you. I'm breaking these resources up into 3 categories: workflow and organization, and then software, and then assets. All 3 of these are super important if you're ready to level up your work as a church graphic designer. Some of these resources are free. Some of these resources have a free tier available to them, and some of them are paid, but I've used a lot of these for many years, and now I use them every day as I do work at my own church and as I do work for churches around the nation. So let's dive into the organization and workflow section first. I've got 3 free resources for you. First is Pinterest. I use this for references, for mood boards, to stay inspired and to give clients references that they can use for us to help figure out what's really going to work for them. A similar site is Behance. Behance is kind of like the professional portfolio version that comes from Adobe. It's very similar to Pinterest in some ways. I've got work that's saved on here so that people can see what I've done, but you can also take inspiration. Sometimes they even have free downloads depending on the project that you're looking at. Third is one of my favorite programs of all time. It's Notion. Notion is a Word app built around databases. So it's like spreadsheets and documents and video embedding and just kind of everything you need to get organized. I use this to organize my company, to organize my personal notes and my family. They call it the happier workspace. I love it. I'm super in for it. Notion, I would love to be a partner with you guys someday. I really believe that getting organized is one of the most important things you can do as a graphic designer. The better you get your workflow down, how you intake information, how you turn it into a brief that guides the creative work that you're doing, and how you communicate with clients, that is the most important part for you as a leader, as a graphic designer, is learning how to manage projects, not just how to be creative. And so these are some of the tools that I use every day. Notion does also have a paid tier where you get access to further automations that might help you in your workflow, as well as AI tools if you're into that kind of thing. I'm super into learning AI tools right now, so that's something that's super important to me. But I've also used the free version of Notion for a very long time. Another app that is both free and paid is Milanote. You might have heard of it if you've ever looked at YouTube and any kind of creative tutorial whatsoever. What I love Milanote for, as opposed to Notion, is I often use Milanote as like my client portal. It's great to lay things out visually in the one way that Notion can't, as if you're kind of like laying resources out on a board. So it's super helpful for clients who are visual, or for when you're collaborating with partners who are very visual. So I equally use Notion and Milanote. Those are 2 of my favorite ways to get organized. Often I'm pulling from my Pinterest board into Milanote or into Notion. So those are some workflow and organization apps that I'm really excited about. Next, we're going to talk about software for creativity. So the free resource for creativity for churches, Canva.com. It's free for nonprofits and church organizations. If you've ever worked with an Adobe Suite product or a image generator in some way, Canva is really easy to use. It's so easy to use that it's not really my favorite, but I would be remiss to not include it because it is a great resource for churches because they made it available for free. A free app that might surprise you at how helpful it is for church content creation would actually be Figma. So Figma has a limited free version. What they give you on the free tier is 3 projects with 3 pages each. Now you can actually do a lot with that. I've actually used it for years without having to pay. I'm probably going to be paying soon because I use this for my business and I'm having to scale up. But at a church, you might be able to get away with using this for free for a while. And what I love about it is it's kind of an in-between Canva and Photoshop. It's great for building presentations and for visualizing things in a different way that you can't necessarily do in Canva or Photoshop. I use it all the time for presentations for my business. Figma is an awesome resource. You should definitely check it out. When it comes to paid software for creativity, you're going to have to talk about Adobe Creative Cloud. Whether you love it or hate it, they have amazing tools for creators. I've been a Photoshop and Illustrator user for longer than I can remember, as well as Premiere for video editing, After Effects for graphics, Lightroom for photo editing, and as well as InDesign for making print materials. Being able to navigate the Creative Cloud suite and learn the different pros and cons, strengths and weaknesses, use cases of each program has been really valuable to me over the years. I'm going to continue to be an Adobe Creative Cloud user for a long time, I imagine. It's one of those things that like there's such a learning curve to learning Photoshop. Or learning Illustrator or some of these programs because they're pro-level programs. But when it comes to doing this for a living, if you're considering it, you really need to know Creative Cloud. It is the main platform out there. I'm sure there are others, but nothing really compares other than in the video editing world, there are now competitors like DaVinci that really are awesome resources that are also free to resources. But this is about content creation and graphic design, not about video. So let's move on to section 3, assets, free and paid assets for church content creators. Now, this I'm sure is your biggest question and probably why you're here. Here are some of the places that I go to. Free resources. I use Unsplash for stock photos all the time. They do a really good job of curating their catalog where most things are usable and you can find what you need somehow, even in the Christian world. Like if you search for a cross, you're going to get some usable images of a cross. Now, you might have to dig for a while, but you are able to find most of what you need here on Unsplash. Another free photo site that I've used before is Pexels. They also have free videos. They have a paid platform because everybody has a paid platform these days because people got to eat. But it's a good option if you don't find what you're looking for on Unsplash. You can probably find something on Pexels. A couple of the sites that I use for free fonts, Fontesk is one of my favorite sites for free fonts. I'm usually able to find what I need. Whenever I'm looking for something specific, I'll search for the category of the font and I'll immediately check that free for commercial use because that then covers you for sure at your church because you may or may not be covered by a commercial license or by a personal license. It gets kind of awkward. If you've got questions, let me know in the comments. But I love the fonts that are available on there. Another site that has free goods is pixelsurplus.com. Under their free goods, you can search for free fonts and textures and mockups. It's not as easy to navigate because what they do is they dump free resources every now and then into one kind of place. And so it's actually a really deep pool that you can pull from. There's 70 pages of free fonts here, but there's not a lot of organization. So if you're willing to go dive in and take a look, you can find some really good stuff in there. Another place that I go to almost every single time for free fonts is Google Fonts. These are free for you to use commercially or personally. They're ubiquitous for a reason. Some of the fonts that I use every day always come from Google Fonts, very common ones that are just great Swiss Army knives that I use all the time, right there. One of my favorite free platforms that does have a paid platform is actually a site called Coolors.com. Now, I'm actually affiliated with Coolors. You can click the link in the bio if you want to pay for their premium features, which I really recommend. But what they have is actually a color palette generator. Every time you hit the space bar, you get new colors. You can lock in a color that you like and then move it around. And you can then, let's say I like this color. I can say what else works with that and kind of build a palette and then export it to a PDF or an image to bring in. It's really helpful to get consistency with your colors. If you've got brand colors to work with and you're looking for things that work around it. One of their pro features is that you can see variations of palettes and see how they work on different screens. It's super helpful. All in all, a super useful site that I go to very, very often. I'm very excited to be an affiliate with them. Again, check the link in the bio if you want to learn more. I do get a little bit back from that, so you can support the channel. Now moving on to some paid resources for creative assets. These are some of my favorites. I use Envato Elements. They're very reasonably priced. You can usually find what you need on Envato Elements. Now, some things are not as high quality as other places. Oftentimes, I will pull from a stock photo from Unsplash rather than Envato, but Envato has a far deeper catalog because of the way that they manage their content creators. But when it comes to textures, assets, template files for video, for graphic design, Envato is awesome. You should definitely check them out. I also use Artlist for royalty-free music. I love their catalog. I can always find what I need. It's what I use for my YouTube videos. It's what we've used at our church for several years now. Artlist.io is a great paid resource if you are getting serious and you start to need royalty-free music or other resources. They've got video templates as well. I only use them for music right now, but that might change. Who knows? And then one of my favorite resources for video, which is this is a freebie because this isn't really focused on video, is Happy Editing. This used to be Ezra Cohen TV, if you have ever seen seen this. He is a content creator specifically for churches. He's also the founder of Sunday Screens, if you've ever run across that. His Happy Editing bundle has so many good video resources that I use on almost every single video that I put out. So I'd be remiss if I didn't rep him as well. Great stuff. Great stuff. So those are 15 of my top paid and free resources that are a must-have if you're ready to level up your church graphic design. I love getting to share graphic design content with you. I hope it encourages you on wherever you're at in your journey as a church content creator. But for now, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.